Welcome back, guys, to CFL Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans. And we have another player interview coming up. This time, not a former Ticat, but a current Ticat. We welcome Gordon Whyte to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, Gordon. Glad to have you here.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
There you go. And on a bit of a late Wednesday night, but that's all good. It works for, honestly, recording late works great for us. But yeah, just glad to have you here, man. So one thing that we like to kind of go through, just because I guess with a lot of the NFL guys, you get this, but you don't get this as much with the CFL guys. But what got you into football? As you know, the CFL's got guys from all around the world, and so we get different answers with everyone. So what got you into the game?
Yeah, so I grew up playing a lot of sports. I played hockey, more or less, football, lacrosse. Those are like the three main sports, but I was active throughout my entire childhood playing all three sports. And then football was introduced to me second after hockey in about grade 8 of high school. And it's just like bigger kid at the age kind of thing. They're like, you should try out football. You might like it. I love the contact in hockey. Being a young kid, I know it's quite the answer, but yeah, like the contact aspect. So I got into it with my school, high school, and tested it out, tried summer football, loved it, and then ended up running with football and hockey for probably like 4 or 5 years, like pretty hardcore on both sides. And then got to the point where I had to kind of make a decision whether to play football and pursue that or play hockey. And obviously I chose football and I ran with it. And obviously it worked out because playing for the Ticats now, so it worked out in my favor. But yeah, I kind of just got into it through word of mouth, testing it out. My dad was a big Buffalo Bills fan growing up, so football was always in the family and being watched a lot. Sure. So yeah.
And I gotta say that's a bit of an interesting answer for me, especially because this is probably the first time we've had someone on where I've heard them them describe how they got into football, and I'm like, that is exactly the same how it was for me. I played hockey. I love the contact aspect of it. I didn't know nothing about football before I started playing.
Yeah.
You show up to spring camp, you get excited because they let you hit people, and then you learn the rules afterwards, and that got me into the CFL a bit. But yeah, no, so it's nice to see you get into that and obviously pursue that. Worked out pretty well for you. So you went to university at St. Francis Xavier in Nova Scotia, I believe. How was your time there?
Yeah, it was amazing time. I ended up choosing to go out there because small class sizes for the academics wise. I knew I could come in and start and like play first year and compete. So that was obviously a big catch. And I had actually 2 of my high school coaches had gone to St. Francis Xavier. So they helped. They had a little bit of a biased opinion on it. So they were the ones. I didn't even know about St. FX and the AUS conference when I was looking at schools. And then I heard about it through a coach. He's like, you got to go check it out. It's beautiful out there. So I even messaged them and went on a visit, kind of like through like that. They were obviously messing around, but I kind of went to them. Was like, I would love to come on a visit. And then I went and I fell in love with it within the hour of being there. And I went with my parents. And I think I made the decision like 2 days after I got back, and I went there. And then, yeah, I played my 5 years there, and it was awesome. I'm from Toronto, so I'm used to the city. So it was a nice change of going out there to a really small town called Antigonish, called Antigua, they call it. So right out in the middle of nowhere.
I butchered the pronunciation of that. Oh, yeah. I would not have done that justice. No.
Yeah, but it was like population 4,000, 5,000. So it was such a difference. But it had like that university feel, like with the football field in the middle of our American university kind of college feel. So it was awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah. And we've heard a few good stories come from our college football experience, as it was actually, I believe last Saturday, we actually had your former teammate, Braylon Addison on.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, no, we had Braylon. And so he was talking about his time when he was playing in Oregon and whatnot, and some of the crazy experiences he had, especially since he's from Texas. So playing up north was a bit different for him. But for yourself, like, what would you say was like the craziest experience you had in college, whether that was football or not? As I mean, we asked Addison what it was for him, and he was talking about a big snowball fight just on the campus. That
really?
He very much participated in. He said from Texas they don't get that there, so it was exciting.
Yeah, well, I can give you like a football one and a probably non-football one.
Oh,
But
fantastic.
we my first year there, I was only 18, and we went to Laval,
Oh
and
yeah.
I didn't know how crazy their fans were, how they filled up 15,000. So we went for like a crossover game before because there was no more crossover games now, but at the time there was. So in my first year, we went out to Laval, and the AUS never competes with like hopefully they do at some point, but like at the time there was no big competition between AUS and the Quebec leagues. And we went in there 15,000 fans and got smoked 65 to like 2.
Oh boy.
But I'm out there in front of all these fans just losing it, freaking out. Like,
That's got to be a cool
even
experience.
oh, it was crazy going up to that. Like, they have this long walk up to the field, and it was packed to the brim. And I'm out there freaking out, and then we get smoked. But honestly, it was like that was like one of the craziest like butterfly atmosphere kind of feels that I had.
And I guess that would have been your first exposure to that as well. So like you hadn't had time to like take that in.
Exactly.
No,
I
for
had
sure.
no ever fans really watching like that. And then I went to this packed brim, fans screaming at you as you come in. I was like, is this like Canadian University football? But yeah, I'd say also we had I'd say honestly, one of the craziest experience out east is the snow they get there. And we had like my first year or second year there, we had about like 4 or 5 snow days. And we're talking like so the first year I lived in a student house with a couple of guys on the team. There was a blizzard one day, and no joke, I came out and we couldn't open our door because it was like 3/4 of the way up the thing, like full snowed in. So we couldn't leave our house for like 2 days because it was full snowed in. Like, couldn't even get ourselves out, and it was just wild. Like, everything was shut down. Luckily, we had enough food in the place because we couldn't go anywhere. But that was probably like the off the top of my head, probably the craziest experience I can think of.
Yeah, I have to imagine what Addison would have reacted to that.
Yeah,
gotta be a bit of a different experience. So a lot of different players in the league prepare in certain ways. So this is actually a question we got on our Instagram here, and Albert Banaheen Jr. on Instagram had commented, "What is your pre-game meal?"
Usually my pre-game meal, I'm a huge fan of chicken parmesan.
Oh, same.
So like, honestly, it's my favorite. It's got to be a good piece of chicken parmesan. It can't be some like, but yeah, that's usually my go-to if I can get my hands on it. So like when we're home games, I usually like to find a spaghetti with some chicken parmesan. And then if we're away games, I usually just go find a steak somewhere with the guys, because that's usually the hot spot to go. But if I got to choose, it'd be a nice homemade piece of chicken parmesan and some spaghetti. So,
oh hell yeah, hell yeah!
Got to carb up. Got to carb up for the game.
There you go. And I think Ricky, I think you had something here. One second.
Yeah. So this always brings me back to like the Rudy days of when in the movie Rudy. But what's it like to having to juggle your school schedule with your football schedule?
Oh, back in university?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite the challenge, but that's one of the reasons why I went out east, is because of the small class sizes. So we actually were very in tune with the teachers. So whenever like I would miss a class or like couldn't go to a class because of games or whatever, it was so easy to go to their office hours and get caught up. And they were only teaching about like max 30 kids, most of the time less.
Oh, there you go.
So that was huge, just getting in their like ear and making sure they know like that, because a lot of the teachers have that like stereotype of you that you're the jock and you're just here to play football, but that's not usually the case. So just making sure you show them that like you cared. And we had like study hall with the team, which helped a lot too. But the first year of managing it all, like being on your own for the first time, being like, I got to get myself to classes and to practice and to the gym and stuff like that, was obviously a challenge. But I think having everything was walking distance there. So it was no sweat to get around, which was huge. And just taking advantage of teachers. And I even picked up a couple tutors over the years, because I had a tutor all through high school too. So yeah, that all helped, but they just have good resources out there that helped me get through. So
for sure.
So the next question that we have is, this is from Nosebud on Discord. What initially drew you to the position of long snapper?
Yeah, so I was I obviously played running linebacker my entire career, but But in high school, I was in grade, I think it was 9. It was like my second year playing like high school football, and the coach were just at the end of a practice breakdown. He goes like, we didn't have a long snapper. I didn't even know what it was at the time. And he goes like, anyone want to learn how to long snap? And me just being a keener, I was just like putting my hand. I'm like, I'll learn. Like I might as well. And then he's like, perfect. Here's this guy. He threw it, like coach brought me over, and he just kind of started breaking it down to me. And ever since then, I got through that season doing it and kind of just ran with it. But the craziest thing about it is, and I played linebacker throughout, but long snapping was kind of the ticket into the league and having a long career. And I was self-taught all the way up till my first year with the Ticats. And my first time ever going one-on-one with a coach to like actually break it down was my year after my first year with the Ticats. So,
oh my goodness,
it was all just me learning on my own with
this
my
feels
dad,
right.
kind of just snapping, going to my school, high school, all just through football, just kind of getting through, and then watching YouTube videos, trying to do what the pros do, stuff like that. And then I went to after my first year, I went down to Wisconsin to see a coach there, and it was just broke it all down to like a science. And now I'm like, if I knew all that, like I can't believe I got to where I was just being self-taught. And it was kind of a kudos to me and like just like learning on your own. But
yeah, for sure. I
guess
we're
just taking it to new levels.
Yeah, I guess definitely having that responsibility, because I completely understand what you're saying as well about football coaches, especially in high school, where it's just like, it's like, all right, we're missing an O lineman. Where's that big
exactly.
son of a bitch? Like where is it? Exactly. That's exactly how it is. It's just let's find someone who can do it. Could you give it? You've never just give it a try. We'll see how it goes.
100%.
It's such an insane thing, because I had grown up playing hockey, where it was very much, you go to tryouts, it's like, they ask you your position, you tell them right then and there. And then you go to football, they're like, well, you work better here, so we're throwing you here. And a lot of times
running back, linebacker, D-end, you play everything.
For sure. No, I completely get that. And so with being a long snapper as well, I have to imagine that your practice regimen is also at least a bit different. Obviously there's going to be some drills that they do like as an entire team. But from some time playing football and also just my general knowledge, I know that obviously they split you off into your position specific stuff. So how does that normally look, I guess?
Yeah. So I was drafted as long snapper, but also a linebacker. So ever since I've been there, I've always been with the linebackers. Just making sure I know my stuff. They'll never put me in for a play, but I'm always an emergency guy, because like I've done it. I've been a good one. So, for sure. But they obviously want to protect me, because long snapping is a very niche thing, and like it's an important thing, especially when you're in groove with your holder and your punter and stuff like that. You don't want to screw up a finger going in on a practice rep or something. So actually during individual period, I work with the linebackers, because I take a lot of pride in my downfield coverage and like getting down to make tackles, and not just being like a long snapper. I want to be able to I want them to have to like scheme up to block me. So I pride myself getting downfield, making plays. So I'm always with the linebackers, still making sure I feel like a football player and working my breaking down and tackling and stuff like that. But then on my own time, it's kind of on me during practice, where anytime I can pull myself out and go do my long snapping stuff or short snapping stuff or whatever, it's kind of on me. But usually I'm honestly kind of like floating around the practice, just getting reps where I feel like I need them, and then doing my stuff on my own. Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. I was looking into some of your highlights and whatever, some clips for us, more so for our promo video that we had to put out or whatever.
Great promo video.
Oh, thank you. and that was something that I had noticed, was how it's like, I've seen, especially watching a decent amount of high school games, where the guy snaps the ball and he snapped the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
But, seeing you snap the ball and then haul ass downfield, even though you're self-taught, I have to imagine that that's going to be a bit of a difference maker when it comes to, pushing your football career into the future, in the sense of, the coach, they want guys that are going to play to the fullest extent of the play. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And so I have to imagine that that's helped you out. So,
And deep down, the coaches know if they ever need me, they can throw me on any special team, and I'll make a play.
And that's an awesome skill to have, to be able
exactly.
to just be able to fit whatever role they need. As like I said, if they think you fit somewhere, they're gonna throw you in there with almost no notice.
Exactly.
So even though I guess being a long snapper, some of the plays will be. Well, a lot of the plays probably going to be relatively similar in some regard. Can you share any memorable or defining moments you've experienced as a long snapper specifically?
Well, probably my first. I'll give you two. My first ever snap in the CFL was against Saskatchewan, and I can't remember the name, but they lined up and this is the first time in university never blocked. It was just snap and run straight downfield. But in the CFL, you got to drop, block, and can't leave till the ball's kicked. First play, they line up and I didn't know he was coming for me, but they lined up this 320-pound defensive lineman in the A gap.
Oh no!
And I'm just like sitting my head up. I'm like, all right, like he'll probably like hold up or something. I put my head between my legs. I snapped the football, and he just like when I mean bulldoze me, it would look like bowling, like pins. Like I got smoked into the up back fell. I fell on top, and he just fell on top of me. And it was like the most perfect like welcome to the CFL moment. And I was like, absolutely. Holy smokes.
Now,
and they just the rest of the game, they just and then I was ready for it, but the whole game they just ran this 320-pound guy straight at my head every play. It was great.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly how it is. As obviously I didn't play in the CFL, but even I just remember my first play in football in general. I thought I'm ready, and then the guy hits you. They're like, okay, this is football. It's something where exactly. it's a bit jarring, but you get used to it, and so it is what it is. Now, obviously, you said you were self-taught, but I have to imagine in order to get up to the CFL for sure. How has your role as a long snapper evolved? What are maybe some changes you made that were really able to, I guess, elevate you to the next level?
Yeah. So, I was kind of like the one thing I learned when I went for my first lesson was that you don't need to use so much movement and effort to get a good snap. It's actually like the less movement, less effort gets you a higher velocity, better snap. So when I went, like my feet were flying in the air, like my head was sinking, my follow through was crazy.
Was this back in high school or college or CFL?
Oh, this would have been after my first year in the CFL. So I guess I should go back. But it was kind of just self-taught. Like I would just be like kind of like grip it and rip it mentality throughout university. But I kind of learned through YouTube videos how to like the whole technical side to it and like that. But I never learned like the whole real mechanics of like how the pros kind of do it and how they were taught. So I kind of evolved just having my natural way of how I found a way to throw my spiral. And it was when I went to the one-on-one session, he's like, it's crazy to watch like the video of when I came in to when I ended the 4 days of working with them. But yeah, it's just like, it's kind of evolved just through every long snapper is different. They have their own thing, how to grip the ball, how they do their own thing. But, just kind of I've kind of lessened my movement pattern, and now it's a lot less of a movement and simpler technique, and it actually gives me a more accurate and velocity on my football. So
for sure. And I do find that interesting as well, as you mentioned how YouTube videos were a big help for you in the sense of like, this is, I guess we're talking about something where it wouldn't have been, I guess, too crazy long ago where that wouldn't have been something available to some guys to learn through their football careers and get to the next level. So it's just kind of interesting to see how time evolves, even the way that guys are learning their positions and their roles on their team a bit differently.
100%. So,
this is an interesting question here because I understand this because I played center. So I had this, I guess, with my quarterback. But how do you build and maintain a strong rapport with your punter and kicker?
Yeah, it's kind of so I'm pretty sure I've had a different punter every year since I've been in the CFL. But it's kind of just making sure he's like he's on the same we're on the same page, as in like every punter wants their ball a different place. Some like it right on their stomach, some want it kickside hip, some want it opposite of the kickside hip. It's like a very technical thing to them. But then you get some punters who don't really care. They're kind of just like put it in the target zone, and
Not
I'll
too
get it
far and
off.
you're good.
Yeah, they're like, there's this big box, just put it in there and then you'll be fine. So I was like, okay, like I'm still gonna throw you a good snap, but I guess if that's what you want.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's kind of just making sure you give them the best opportunity too, because they're all about like angle of where they're kicking and get off times and stuff like that. So like you want to put them in the best like situation. So I pride myself on making sure I'm like doing the extra stuff to work with them on what they want to do and not
For sure.
don't make them feel like they're asking too much kind of thing. But
Absolutely.
the guy we have this year, Bailey Flint, he's very good with like communicating where he wants it, and he's about to have a big season. So
there you go.
We're excited for that.
Absolutely.
So the next question is kind of one big long question, but between the CIS and the CFL, which stadium would be your best, like your favorite stadium to play in?
CIS and CFL?
Yeah, between university and CFL.
Or you can give an answer for both.
Probably. Okay.
Yeah, if you wanted. If
well,
you want to do one for each.
The problem with in the like CIS, like the AUS wasn't a crazy big conference, so like Laval probably would have been the coolest place we played. We played at it twice, and it was always full. But playing at CNFX is amazing, but it doesn't compare to any of the other schools because it's so small out there. So I'd probably say Laval for the playing at Laval is just crazy because their fans take it way more serious than any other Canadian university fan takes it. So probably there. And then in the CFL for sure playing at Tim Hortons Field is definitely by far the best. Just because like it's different atmosphere, different everything. You got the fans on your side and they just kill the opponents when they need to. And just the chants and everything. And you obviously I've done it. I think every year I've played in Winnipeg week 1. So it's obviously fun playing there just because they're like they're the rival and everyone obviously wants to see it because they keep setting us up with them week 1. But so it's fun playing there too, but it's definitely in the donut box for sure.
I just had to be a Bomber fan for this. I just had to be a Bomber fan for
this.
Yeah. So this is a kind of a question that's kind of a curveball that I'll throw out to you because you live in Toronto, you grew up in Toronto. I know you're a Bills fan growing up. Were you ever growing up as an Argos fan?
Yeah, so I grew up. My dad was a big Argos fan growing up. My family was a big Argos fan, so he went to a ton of games. But the funny story is that I went to about, I want to say 8 or 9 games with my dad, or maybe 10. And every single game that I went to at the Sky Dome, they lost. The Argos lost. So I never got to witness the Argos win that I went to a game, which is a wild stat. But now I look back at it, and I'm like, it was meant to be at this point, get drafted to Hamilton. And I look back, I'm like, they had no success with me there. So perfect.
There you go. I was about to say he's fallen to the dark side. Look at that.
Yeah. But yeah, we definitely grew up pretty big Argos fans, but it was a quick transition. And now we got all the Argos gitches out of the house, and we reloaded it with some like Ticats stuff. So,
for sure. And so our next one is a bit of an interesting question here, as I believe he is a former teammate of yours who actually saw this on Instagram. What is your favorite moment of your CFL career so far? This is from Michael Domagala.
Oh yeah, he's over in Edmonton now.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably trying to nitpick something here, so I'm not going to get into anything that he's thinking right now. But I'll give you my first.
We might need to have him on now.
Yeah,
we got to investigate this, Rick.
We might have to get us both on at the same time. That'd be pure comedy.
Oh my God!
But we just playing in my first season with the Ticats, we had that Grey Cup at home, which was absolutely nuts. And the most tragic loss ever, but that was by far like the best experience ever. Just fans driving the bus into the streets all blocked off, and all the fans tailgating, and then I get out to the field and I'm on the field like an hour 25 early, warming up to snap because we already come out early, and half the stadium was full. An hour 25 before the game, they start chanting when I'm walking in. I'm like,
that's gotta be
team's not coming out, guys. Just the long snapper to do a couple warm-up snaps.
Exactly.
But that was definitely by far my highlight of it. Obviously, we lost, so shouldn't say highlight, but that was my most looked at and remembered experience.
For sure, absolutely. Now, you've played in the CFL a few years. You got another one coming up. So I have to ask you, and we had asked Addison this, and his answer was Simone Lawrence. But who's the biggest locker room character that you've been on the same team as? And we're gonna stick to CFL for this one.
Because
that'll be guys we're more familiar with.
Honestly, like I'm gonna give you guys two. Mike Domagala was one of the funniest locker room guys I have been around, and we became very good friends that way. Just in our first year, we were roommates, and he was like I promise you could ask any Ticats player that played with him this. Like, he was just pure comedy. Just like one time he was having a leg cramp during training camp, and we were all in the locker room during training. This is when we had COVID year, so we were in Tim Hortons Field, and he's in the locker room, and he starts having a leg cramp, and he hits the ground. So everyone, like the strength and conditioning guy, went and grabbed one of those like roller things to put on your thighs, and he's like, "We got to get it out." And he goes, "No." We all, I think 6 of us, pinned him on the ground, like each one on, and it looked like it looked like an exorcism or something. He's screaming, saying no, and like one guy's on each arm, one guy's on each leg, like full, like
against
we're all
his
holding
will.
down, and then the strength and conditioning guy's just rolling his thigh that's cramping up, and he's screaming, and it was like everyone's crying, videotapes are out, everyone's filming it.
We need that. We got to ask Mike about. I
might need to find that.
We got to ask Mike about that.
Oh, for sure. And then other than that, probably Revenberg. He's like just pure comedy, sometimes sick comedy, but it's hilarious. Sometimes he's always like, anytime I'm around him, I have to have my eye on a swivel, because I'm like, he'll do something at some point. So I got my eye on a swivel when he's around.
For sure. Absolutely. And so now I guess pulling it back a little bit, obviously you have all that time that you spend on the field, playing your game, doing what you do. But as a CFL player, even afterwards, there's going to be times you're going to be approached by fans. They're going to ask you to sign a few things. Now, I have one from a prior interview we've done that I will mention afterwards. But what is the craziest thing you have ever had to sign?
Oh, gosh. One time I was, I don't know. I'm just going to
go for it.
This is like my first year. So I was like signing whatever. This pretty young looking girl comes up and just like, she's like, "Can you sign my bra?" And like, no question asked, just like flip the shirt up. And I'm just like looking, I'm like, this one, like, you got, I'm
going to get in trouble for this.
I'm like, hold on. Like, and then her mom's there, and I look over at her mom, and her mom's like, no worries. Like, go ahead. And I'm like looking around for a PR person. I'm like, should I be doing this? Like, I don't know what to do. Like, so I'm just like, you know what? I just quickly did a quick scribble signature. She left very happy, and I'm just like, I left stunned. Like, and then, like, all these people are asking. I had like a good 20-second like freeze. I was like, what just happened?
Yeah, no, and it's actually
because there's tons of people around too, and all waiting to get something signed. She just comes up. I'm like, I'm not holding up anyone. I'm like, look at her mom. Mom's like, no, go ahead. Like, no worries. I'm like, I don't know if that's like, I don't even know if I was looking for your approval or not. It was just, I'm just stunned right now. I don't know what to do, but we went ahead and did it. So hopefully she's happy.
I'm hearing that Gordon Whyte's a homewrecker. Hopefully that doesn't cause any problems.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, Gordon, because Wayne Smith, former Ticat offensive line, was on here, and he had something similar to you, except for the mom brought a pair of her daughter's underwear for him to sign.
Rough Riders underwear, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, this is for my daughter." And he's
that
like describing
hilarious.
it, and he's like, and it's funny because it sounds like he had about the same reaction to you. Although I have to imagine that's quite something, because like, her mother's right there, so you're just like, what are you like? Am I gonna get in trouble here? Should I be doing?
And then I'm thinking, like, I don't want to cause a scene at this point. What if I say no? Are they gonna get all angry and be like,
3 Down Nation's gonna be all over that now? There we go. We'll need that video of Michael to shut him up about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it.
There we go. Oh, I would love to.
I gotta keep it in the layer in case he does come on here. I don't want him saying.
Yeah, there we go. We'll insert it right in the middle of the podcast. That's what we'll
do. Perfect.
We'll let him watch it back and see it.
Put it in his little highlight tape.
Oh, that will be the encore to the highlight reel. Is that
there you go.
There we go. So. We've had an absolutely great time. Thank you so much for coming on, man. For all of our viewers at home, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you guys follow his career, and make sure you chirp him when needed, because I'm sure he loves that.
100%.
Give him more weird things to sign so he can come back here and talk about it. It gets us views, so we're happy about it. So yeah,
starting to spread the long snapper love. We're spreading
long snapper love, exactly. So Thank you so much for coming on. I don't know if I should be wishing you good luck for this Friday, because I'm a little conflicted. You're a nice guy, but I'm just not so sure.
Hey, I don't think it's going to be a great game. That's all.
I know it will be. Absolutely.
It's a great way to start the season, but we're ready. I know they're ready. It's going to be a grudge match.
It's funny because me and Carter did our season 1 preview the other day. He obviously took his Bombers. I took my Ticats, and I said this game's going to be as close as 3 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a war, and I'll be there, so I will be very excited to see all that happen. So
there you go. You can chirp me yourself.
Yeah. I'll come down to the field, so that way that way you'll hear me. All right. So
beautiful.
Anyway, so take care. Again, thank you so much for coming on.
Nice to meet you guys. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. So. That's the end of this podcast here today, and we will see you guys next time.